We have a really, really big announcement at the end of the show. Now, I told the audience here they're not allowed to text it out, tweet it out, do any social media. How, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good is the announcement? All right. But we begin tonight our top story. As you might have noticed, former President Trump was not indicted today. In fact, this morning's grand jury proceeding in New York City, they were canceled. Now, according to FoxNews.com, there is now major dissension at the DA's office, with many speaking out against Alvin Bragg's political charade. And get this, one source telling Fox News that Bragg is having trouble convincing a grand jury on potential charges because of the weakness of the case. And what is spectacular about it, now think about this, the grand jurors, the defense does not get a say in a grand jury proceeding, nothing. So in other words, they have zero opportunity to present their side at all. That's where you get the saying you can indict a ham sandwich, right? All right, so make no mistake, this is a pathetically weak case, maybe the weakest, most convoluted case ever brought before a grand jury. And a quick reminder, by the way, this is Alvin Bragg campaigning on a promise to go after one man, Trump, one company, the Trump company, and one family, the Trump family. Watch.
A lot of people are wondering, whoever has this job, are they going to convict Donald Trump?
Look, that is the number one issue. I'm the candidate in the race who has the experience with Donald Trump. I was the chief deputy in the attorney general's office. We sued the Trump administration over 100 times. It'd be hard to argue with the fact that that'd be the most important, most high profile case. And I've seen him up front and seen the lawlessness that he can do.
And you believe it should happen?
I believe we have to hold him accountable.
What you heard there, that is not justice. That is a promise of a political persecution. And here's what Bragg is trying to do. Listen very carefully. He wants to take what is a simple misdemeanor case over a mislabeled transaction that is 2 years outside of the statute of limitations, then ramp it up to a chargeable felony by tying in a rarely charged campaign finance violation that so many other people looked at and passed on, all because of a completely legal non-disclosure agreement, an NDA, from 7 years ago. Now, I'd like to know how many NDAs might be in the Manhattan DA's office, even after the years before Bragg got into office. Now, to make matters worse, the case depends on testimony from a convicted felon, a tax cheat, an admitted and notorious liar by the name of Michael Cohen. He is the DA's star witness, but don't take it from me. Here is Michael Cohen's former legal advisor, Bob Costello, last night right here on this show.
During that first 2-hour meeting, Michael Cohen, who, as I said before, was pacing back and forth, would suddenly stop in the middle of whatever he was talking about and turn and point his finger at us and say, I want you guys to understand, I will do whatever the F I have to do. I will never spend a day in jail. He said that at least 10 to 20 times during that 2-hour period. It was a bizarre mantra, but it made it clear to us that Michael Cohen was saying, I will lie, cheat, steal, shoot someone. I will never spend a day in jail. Well, what happened? He did spend more than a day in jail. And who does he blame? Not himself, even though counts 1 through 7 related to times that before he even met Donald Trump. So he blames Donald Trump.
So will you believe the admitted liar, or are you going to believe that gentleman who is not a felon? And that's not all. According to JustNews.com and John Solomon, a memo from 2019 reveals that Cohen told his attorneys that he, quote, had no information against Donald Trump. But now Cohen is telling a much different story. So do you trust Michael Cohen then? Do you trust him now? Do you believe him now? Do you believe him then? He admitted that he lied in a court of law and he pled guilty. So that's because that is what the Bragg jury is going to have to answer. Now, it's pretty baffling right now, especially when you consider that Alvin Bragg is famous for handing out plea deals like candy, including reduced charges, get this, for rapists, robbers, other violent felons and offenders. In fact, Bragg previously reduced 52% of every felony case to a misdemeanor, including many that were caught on tape, on camera. In other words, a slam dunk conviction. In contrast, if Trump is charged, it would be the first and the only case that Bragg has ramped up from misdemeanor to a felony that we know of. This seems pretty risky for Mr. Bragg, given that he only gets a conviction in about half the felony cases that he actually tries. Now, 49% of the time, if he charges somebody, has a trial, he loses 49% of the time. It is one of the lowest conviction rates in the entire U.S. and 17 points lower than the last DA. Bragg clearly, he must like to lose. Anyway, and keep in mind, campaign finance violations are typically charged at the federal level, but both the DOJ, the FEC, declined to bring any charges against Trump. In 2018, a lawyer representing Michael Cohen issued this letter to the FEC, quote, in a private transaction in 2016, before the U.S. presidential election, Mr. Cohen used his own personal funds to facilitate a payment of $130,000 to Ms. Stephanie Clifford. Neither the Trump Organization nor the Trump campaign was a party to the transaction with Ms. Clifford. Now Bragg is trying to prove just the opposite, despite this clear exculpatory evidence. So why is Bragg dedicating all this time, all these resources, millions of tax dollars to this convoluted legal case? I can't answer that. In America, justice is supposed to be blind. In America, prosecutors are supposed to investigate crimes, not people. Show me the man, I'll show you the crime. That was the official or unofficial motto of the former Soviet Union and Stalin, not the U.S. But apparently that's news to Alvin Bragg. And still, it's no longer certain that Trump will even be charged. The winds are changing rapidly. And sources, by the way, telling Fox News, quote, there remains a real chance that Bragg does not choose to indict the former president.